As the sun sets after some steady progress here at the Kingdom of Audupon, I must say, I do think that the chef has been in the kitchen. As you can see, in our mountainous region, we have gotten around to expanding the kingdom, and we have bridge after stone brick wall that curves down into the mountainside overlooking our beautiful wheat field over in this direction. Over time, as I continue as a Minecraft builder, I can tell that I'm getting better and better at making these paths, especially into the mountainside, which may I assure you is no easy feat fitting all of these different slabs perfectly into the terrain. But our path takes a bend over to the left this way and makes itself along down to where the river lies, where eventually we'll get around to making a bit of a docking and a fishing area, which as you can see by this area is a perfect spot to do so, overlooking our recreational park for the gods. But I also did want to mention that over down here by the wheat field, we also in a couple of episodes back ended up getting around to doing another stone pathway leading all the way down here too. But unfortunately, all of the cinematics that I made for the video were made in the wrong FOV, so I had to scrap them, and I wanted to show you the pathway now. And as we look at the kingdom, you can see that it really is starting to come together, and there's a lot of work that we can do in this middle area of the kingdom here. We can once again continue up our brand new stone pathway, and then over past our arched bridge as well, where we can make our way over to the top of the platform where the build for today's episode is going to lie, where you'll notice that we have a couple of trapdoors. And the reason being for that is that if we head on down here, you can see that we have a brand new melon farm in this area. We have a beautiful little interior space where I have some copper trapdoors for some extra decoration and a morgue lost item frame. But we also have a wonderful bedroom area over here, and my favorite part may be our aquarium, where we have a couple of fish just flying up and down, which I got the idea of having aquariums from the wonderful YouTuber Ecolio, and I've been implementing them in the kingdom. I highly recommend doing so. It adds so much life to any interior. But we also have some note blocks here for some extra decoration, and of course some glowstone to light up the farm. And if we head over in this direction, if we flip down our copper trapdoor, you'll see that we have plenty of melons that we're collecting, which we happen to be doing for two reasons in particular. The first being that I love putting flowers into any area, but we don't have enough bone meal to do so. So I was thinking about taking the melon seeds that we have and making them into a bone meal farm, which will definitely fit the bill for the moment. But I did also run into a skeleton XP farm at some point when I was off camera, so we'll have to get along in making an XP grinder out of it. And then reason two is that it is always helpful to get melons so that we can do a trade with our farmer villagers. But of course, we have to put something very beautiful into this area and spice up all of the terrain that we have around us in the middle of the kingdom, which I've already made the build that we're going to be placing in this area in creative mode, and I'm so excited for you to see it. But of course, we'll have to wait for the end of the video for that to happen. We have a couple of more chores to do. I want to work on the tunnel for our kingdom, and once again, get around to placing some flowers all around the kingdom of Audupon. So if you're here for that adventure, consider leaving a like on the video, and without further ado, I say, why don't we get back to work? Well, it is quickly becoming apparent to me that our current method of getting bone meal to get all these too tall flowers in the world is taking a little bit too much time. So at some point, I think that we're going to have to make a moss farm for the forever world. Although on another token, I am feeling quite satisfied with the progress that we've been able to get done in this area with the peonies and then with the rose bushes over in the distance. It really gives such a colorful look as we make our way up the pathway. And so of course, we'll be trying to get as many more flowers into this area as soon as we can, meaning that we're going to have to wait a little while so that we can harvest more seeds for some bone meal. But for the time being, I think that we're going to get ourselves a little bit more progress done on the tunnel. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but the tunnel is eventually going to be a massive storage area, and slowly but surely we happen to be running out of storage space over at our survival base. So I think that the best thing for us to do next is to spend some of our resources on our bridge, and then who knows, maybe we'll continue our kingdom expansion over to the west. A good hour of deliberate mining later, and we have 14 more layers dug here in the tunnel. And although we have plenty of diorite and plenty of quartz and all the other white blocks that we would need to extend this little bit of the tunnel, I don't feel like doing so in the episode. It may seem like only a little bit of work compared to all of the layers that we have right here, but in reality it takes a long time to make a tunnel this big. So as I've discussed before, the best thing for me to do without burning out on this project is to do it little bit by little bit. But as you can see by the stone bricks in my hand, we've gotten plenty of resources to expand the kingdom, because as discussed earlier, what I really want is some bone meal. But as we head into our storage area, you'll see that we have tons and tons of stone smelting up. And of course, this process is kind of tedious, but it's so worth keeping my materials organized here in my forever world. But I'm sure that we don't have enough pumpkin and melon seeds to get more bone meal, so I think that we're gonna harvest the wheat field once again. And if we head into this chest right here, you'll see that we have tons and tons of wheat, meaning that we'll have to work with some packed mud at some point. But regardless, for the time being, we need ourselves some seeds. So as the sun sets in this beautiful kingdom that we've been working on over the last 6 months or so, I say let us get back to work. Well, it happens to be raining, but we've gotten a good amount of work done here at the Kingdom. As you can see, we've extended our pathway design leading down over to where the park lies, and I'm really falling in love with the way that they work into the land, because not only do they look pretty, but they give me a better idea of how we can work with the land. And not only have we gotten around to extending this area of the Kingdom over here, but if we head over in this direction, we can also kind of see in the rain that I've extended the pathway down along this way too, which I must admit is looking so beautiful, as you can see with the sight line that we have here, as now our path just zigzags so many different times here leading down over to the water, for which eventually we'll definitely have to be making a dock design over in front of me, and I have a feeling that we're going to get to it pretty soon in an upcoming video. But as you can see, the path just winds along the land like so, and is just made out of stone bricks, and cobblestone, and you really don't need too much in order to make the area look so pretty, especially as it leads on down to the wheat field, which is now stunningly completely covered with 2 tall flowers, and I think that they perfectly follow the land to work into the water, and I'm so happy with how they came out, as in my personal opinion, it's always good to add some extra color to your world. But unfortunately, as much as I would like to continue to work on this area and continue to work on the area that we have over on this side of our rampart too, I'm running out of time to make the main build for this episode, which once again is to place a build over our new melon farm up over here. So I say let us stop filibustering and put some materials into our hands. Well, once again, I must say that I've cooked. Our melon farm cottage is so quaint looking, and I love how it blends in with the environment. We ended up going with some lilacs and some sunflowers as well, which bring the extra bit of color that this area really needed. And in particular, I love the curvature that we have with the banners just going upwards. It really makes the shape of this build extra unique. You can see that we've made it clear that this is the melon farm by placing melon seeds on all of the item frames. And if we head over to the front of the build, you can see that we have plenty of flowers over here too. But perhaps my favorite part of the entire build is that it wonderfully overlooks our Recreation of the Gods, which is still one of my favorite builds that I've ever made. And I'm sure that as we continue on in the kingdom, we'll make the entire area behind me even prettier as well. But we might as well sleep away the thunderstorm. But of course, if we head inside, you'll see that I've gotten around to making an interior. We have an ominous potion right here and some bookshelves with some books in it too for some extra color. We also have an ominous banner right here and some paintings, some lanterns, and all the good things that make a really wonderful looking interior. You can see that we're getting dangerously close to the enemy outpost that we have over in the horizon. So I must say we're playing it pretty risky here with all of these aesthetic builds and barely any fortification. But as you can see, we've continued our flowers over on the right and then over on down below us as well, which in my personal opinion are the best things to add when terraforming living in the mountains. The flowers really slope along a diagonal in such a beautiful way, and seeing all of the progress that we've been able to get done in today's episode is making me feel even more invigorated to keep on building in this world. So if you've enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like on it, and if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. We have a new video coming out every week. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, it is just about time for me to get back to work.